Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willow Journals. Welcome back to my channel. I am a journaler, journal maker and teacher of journaling courses, and today is day 2 for the Inspiration Journal course, which is a collage art journaling course. And you'll notice that in my altered book journal I haven't yet done the left hand side of my page here. I was considering doing different themes for the left and right hand side pages. So here I'm working on the next prompt, days two prompt of envelope. So just cutting up an envelope here, and I wasn't sure if I was going to put that on the left hand side page or start a whole new spread. So what I did end up doing was a double page spread for each prompt. And here we have a declaration form. So this is what they look like where I am anyway, in Australia. And it has 2 sheets you pull out, so it's like carbon copies. When you write on the top, it goes through to these bottom 2 sheets, a green one and a yellow one. And because I use these regularly for my small business, sending journals around the world, this is significant for me. It's a part of my life, it's part of my story. It shares a bit about what I do for a living and about Willow Journals. So maybe one day they will change the look of these declaration forms. Maybe they won't even do them anymore because it's all done online. So I like keeping, random things like this, these everyday mundane things that you might not even look twice at or even care about. It's just a logistical form that you fill out, for example. But, when in 20 years time, maybe, or 50 years time, when I'm flipping through this journal, I might look back at this and go, oh, remember when I used to have those forms? And that can bring back a whole bunch of stories. And you know how smells can take you right back to a place and a memory? Well, think of ephemera and think of papers as being able to do the same thing. So there's a little tip for you with your journaling and sharing your stories on your journal pages. The ephemera, the papers, whatever you choose to put onto the page, they can themselves just stand alone and just bring back all of those memories and can take you right back there in your mind. And I think that's just so valuable to have. It kind of links you to these moments in your life, maybe your past yourself, or past stories and things that have been significant in your life. And even if they're not even that significant, it could just literally just be really boring and mundane. But the boring and mundane is also part of our life, our daily everyday life, and so therefore significant. I'm one of those people who sees treasure in pretty much everything. I can see beauty in anything. I can see good in anything. And so maybe one of the reasons why I like journaling and junk journaling and collaging is because I love all of these pieces that I put into my journal so much and see so much value and beauty and wonder and meaning in them. And I hope that I can help you and encourage you to see these things around you with new eyes and see their value, see their beauty, see their wonder, see the meaning in them. And this is a collage journal. We are just having fun with this. Again, I want to reiterate, this isn't creating an amazing piece of art. I mean, it could be, but it doesn't have to be put together well. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be especially beautiful or amazing in any way, shape or form. You can literally just grab everyday items from your life, scraps that you've ripped up, pages that you've taken out of books, just everyday things from your life, like envelopes, and put those on the page and just layer them up, fill every gap. The idea with this collage journal is to create your own personal, meaningful pages by covering up every square inch of your pages in your journal or book, if you're doing an altered book like I am. And these, as you layer up your pages and glue down your pieces, the page becomes like this living, dynamic thing that tells your stories and shares those pieces of who you are. And yeah, let's just start off real simple. I think most of us, everyone, if not everyone, has access to envelopes. And you don't even have to buy them. You can just use junk mail. You know, you get sent junk mail, and often they will send you reply paid envelopes or just whatever it's sent in the envelope itself. I tend to keep them all, and I open it up and then try to be careful when I'm opening up the flap so I don't rip the envelope too much. And then yeah, there's so many ways to use envelopes. I use them in the journals that I make for my shop, but as you can see here, I'm also using them to cover my page, and they're really fun when you cut apart an envelope and then use the inside of the envelope. So if you've never done that, that's something you can incorporate in your journals that has a nice pattern. Make use of the window if you have a window envelope. And when you open up the envelopes, they often have different patterns. So I actually include a few different types of envelopes, I think, or at least two that have different patterns. And I have also given you a freebie today of one of the window envelopes. So if you want to use the same types of envelopes that I use, I have that available on my Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee, which is completely free to download. And throughout this course, every now and then there will be a freebie for you to download. And I also have 4 pieces of envelopes in the 30-page collage kit for this course that I created as well. So if you wanted to use a variety of different types of envelopes, and if you just wanted to use the kit itself and don't want to go about finding your own stash, or you don't have a stash to begin with, you can use those pieces that I've put together in that collage kit. There's over 150 pieces. It is available in my Etsy or over on my Patreon for the Ruby tier. So now I'm just ripping up the green slip from the declaration form, and that's what I wanted to represent, the full declaration form, which I laid down first and now I'm covering up, and then I wanted to represent a bit of the yellow one and a bit of the green one, and then I'm just going to get some other envelopes and things and stick them around the page. Again, I still wasn't sure if I was only going to be using the right hand page or not, so you'll see this video is split into 2. The first half is just doing the right side of this page spread, and then the second half of this video you'll see me do the left hand side. I do add washi tape to most of my page spreads down the middle of my spine. I do that for 2 reasons. One, because I rip out pages in between my collage pages just so the journal doesn't get too bulky. And to hide those rips, I could have just glued the pages together, but I used washi tape to hide where those rips were in the middle of the spine. Also I use the washi tape because it's decorative and it's pretty, and it just kind of gives it a nice line down the middle of the book. Sometimes though, I will lay down the washi tape first. As you can see with my first 2 page spreads, I did my collage first and then stuck my washi tape over the top. And it's just personal preference of what you want to do. I did it both ways throughout my journal. Sometimes I liked doing it over the top if I wanted to keep all of my collage pieces firmly stuck down in the middle, because it tends to lift up in the middle as you're turning the pages. The glue might not be strong enough, and if you've got thicker pieces, especially near the middle, it can lift up. So just sticking it down with that glue, with that washi tape, helps it to stay nice and stuck down on the page. The other benefit though, or the benefit of the other method though, where you lay down the washi tape first and then collage over the top of the washi tape, is that you don't have to collage all the way into the middle of your where the spine is. I mean, you can always leave a gap if you want anyway. Originally I hadn't thought about putting the washi tape on. I only did that because I started noticing the pieces were lifting up. They weren't sticking down near that spine area. So that's why I used the washi tape. But then later on I started using it first and collaging over the top, but not going all the way into the middle. So that's why you don't need washi tape to go over those pieces, because it's only where it keeps unfolding that it will lift up, if that makes any sense. Hopefully you'll see that in practice later on in later videos, where you can see my process adding the washi tape first. So yeah, I use the wide washi tapes by William Morris, or the William Morris design, sorry. I get those from Washi Wednesday. But yeah, you can use whatever washi tape you want, or even masking tape, sticky tape even. I mean, really, do not be too precious about this journal. This is a place to have creative freedom, and now you can see that I filled in the left-hand side page for that neutral collage, and now I'm going to fill in the left-hand side page of the envelope prompt. And this is a page from a stamp book, so I'm just including anything to do with like postage and mail and that kind of thing. So I think I included a piece with a stamp, and I include these little envelope pictures. And again, I'm being selective here, so I chose 2 of them that kind of relate to Australia. So, you know, I'm from Australia, so it was fitting to choose something that represents where I live. And then I think, yeah, just use a few of those other pieces of inside envelopes to stick on the page, and really fun to collage. So if you want to grab a whole bunch of envelopes, grab some stamps, you know, when you get letters in the mail, you can just cut off the stamps that people put on those envelopes to send to you, and I love doing that. That's so fun. Now let me chat about the journaling prompt that goes along with day 2 for those of you who would also like to add writing to your journal. Again, I'll reiterate, you can leave it as a standalone collage journal, where the collage itself is sharing pieces of your story and pieces of who you are. So if that's what you want to do, go ahead and just leave it as that. But if you want to add your journaling and writing, the prompt for day 2 is note to self, kind of going with that kind of letter theme, writing yourself a little note. And you could go many directions with this. I didn't actually know what direction I was going to go with it until I sat down at my desk and started writing. And by the way, if you want to see the journaling portion of the videos, those are over on my Patreon for the Sapphire tier. So the link to my Patreon is also down below in the description box, and you can check that out straight away as soon as you finish watching this video on my channel. If you want, you can go straight over there and watch the journaling portion. But basically, I ended up writing my note to self about what a journal is, just like reminders of how to use this journal, and the reminder not to be too precious about it, because I can often get too intimidated by journals where I won't want to write in them because I think I will ruin them. So a note for myself to remember is to go back to the heart of what a journal is. A journal is just a place where you can express yourself, be yourself, and put all of your thoughts, your feelings, and your memories and stories. And from there, that's what I wrote about this note to self on this page about, I think it was note to self, this journal is a safe place where you can express yourself and be yourself. And then see how the declaration form has lines where you can write on. I thought, perfect, wonderful, I'm going to use those to journal on. And rather than actually write like a full-on letter or a proper paragraph, which I originally thought I was going to do for my journaling, what I ended up doing was a lot of lists and little quotes, like short quotes as reminders or notes to self. And I literally just used all of that writing space pretty much on those declaration forms. Wherever there were lines to write on, I wrote on them. And so the page ended up with a lot of writing. It looks a little bit overwhelming. But I really wanted to, I shared this on day 1 over on the journaling video for day 1 over on my Patreon. And I was just saying how I also want to share, there are so many different ways to journal. It doesn't have to look the same on every page. It doesn't have to look like like lots of text. It doesn't have to look like a whole page of writing in paragraphs, in sentences. It could literally be bullet points, dot points. It could be a list. It could be a quote. It could be a poem. It could be a letter. It could be a mixture of all of that. You can write sideways, you can write upside down, you can write diagonally on the page. And that's what I plan to do with my journal, is have different writing styles, I guess, try out different writing styles, journaling methods, but what I'm essentially doing though is using the page as my jumping off point, as the prompt for me to journal with. So that's how if you're wondering how I came up with the journaling prompts, was by looking at the collage that I laid down and letting that speak to me to guide me as to what I want to journal on the page. So what I want to emphasize for you, if you're following along with the journaling prompts as well, is you don't have to go with what I've given you. That's there as a guide, that's there as a jumping off point, that's there for some inspiration if you're lacking inspiration. But if you, and I hope this happens, find that whatever you lay down on your page is inspiring you, go with that. And if what is the pieces that you're putting on your pages, your collage pages, if they're prompting you, go with that prompt. Like, forget my prompt, forget my list of prompts. They're just there if you have nothing else to work with. But what I'm hoping is that you'll come up with your own prompts as well, or by themselves, from just this process of collaging, where these pieces connect with us in some way, and you then can write those stories. You could write it in a quote, you can write it in a poem, you can write it in a letter, you can write it in a sentence, you can write it in a list. However you want to write it, you can write it in a paragraph, you can maybe dedicate a whole page to just straight writing if that's what you want to do. And feel free to add more things. So I show in the journaling videos too, I don't just leave these pages here. I will add more to the collage. I will add photos to the page. I will add other pieces of ephemera onto the page. So yeah, just keep on going. You might even want to paint over the page and then do your journaling over that. Add your writing space too. There's two ways you could do that. In your collage, you can dedicate writing space within the collage already, or after you've done your collage, when you come to do your writing, you can dedicate a piece and stick that on top of your collage to be your writing space. And I alternate a bit between the two. See how on this page it's lifting up in the middle? That's what I mean by the washi tape covering that area so that it doesn't lift up anymore. Yeah, so when I noticed it lifting up like that, I was like, what can I do about that? Aha, washi tape. Anyway, hope you guys are having fun with this course. Feel free to share any pictures on social media. Just tag me so I can see what you're doing. I'd love to see your own pages. And if you want to see the journaling video, just head on over to my Patreon where you can see that now. Bye guys.
Thank you to my beautiful patrons who supported me in April. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this for another month. It really means the absolute world to me, and I could not do this without you. If you would like to become a patron in May, I will leave the link below to my Patreon down in the description box. That's where you get access to more videos from me, personal updates, printables, and if you're a Ruby patron or higher, you get every single digital kit from my Etsy with a new kit each month. If you would like to support my channel through a one-off donation, you can do that through PayPal to my email address or through Buy Me a Coffee. And if you would like to be part of any of my journaling courses, I'm starting them again in May for the month of May. So feel free to email me to register, and I hope you have fun journaling your life because your stories matter.